It's a good thing we have a short agenda tonight. I will skip the pledge since we can't see any flag right now. So is Kathy online? Can you do roll call, Kathy?
Okay, Mayor McGowan.
Here.
Matthew Lund.
Present.
John Glondo.
Here.
Rustin Weaver.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. Stephen Harper.
Present.
Mickey Holtz. Mickey Holtz.
Here.
Thank you. Beth Williams.
I'm here.
Ken Ratliff.
Wait, am I muted?
No, you're on.
I'm muted. Sorry, I'm here.
And Ken Ratliff.
Ken is here.
All right.
Great. Everyone's here and accounted for. So the next thing, would someone like to approve the meeting agenda? Although, under public appearances, I do have a citizen comment letter to read. It's not on the agenda, if that's okay.
I move that we approve the agenda. This is Matthew. I second. This is Stephen Harper.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda. All those in favor with aye?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. So here we go down under announcements, appointments, awards, and recognitions. What I am going to appoint right now is our committee that's going to come up with legislative procedures and council conduct. And that's going to be Stephen Harper, Beth Williams, Ken Ratliff, and it's going to be chaired by Gary Berndt. Also, Kathy Swanson. And it'll be done virtually. They'll set a time and date and meet on a virtual platform. And I expect them to be able to report back to us in 2 months. And that's what I have under appointments, awards, and recognitions. Next, we'll go to consent agenda. Do we have approval of the consent agenda?
I move that we accept the that we approve the consent agenda as given.
A second.
And that. Okay, so as moved by Stephen, seconded by John to accept the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion? All those in favor with aye?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is approved. So we'll go down to officer reports. And first we'll have Rob Ullman, our city administrator, to give us a update.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. Again, I kind of apologize for the technical difficulties here. Anyways, at the beginning of the month, I like to give out the building permits issued for last month. So for last month, there was actually quite a bit, 12 permits issued, which generated over $21,000. So that's mainly D.R. Horton. They had these in for quite some time, and then they finally decided in April to purchase them. And as you can see, they're just starting to build the ones that have had foundations in through the winter. So they have 10 foundations already done, and so they're going to be starting on those. These 12 that were purchased are going to be above and beyond the 10 that are already out there. And then as far as inspections, obviously because of the COVID-19, there's been very limited inspections. So I had 5, which were fairly essential inspections for last month. But it is obviously picking up for this month. The technology committee is meeting weekly. Again, I report on this every time. It's going great. A lot of good things are coming there. And what we've decided is to hire a company to do an assessment of our infrastructure, and then they'll put together basically a bid packet of some generic what we need. So then we can go out to bid. But first of all, we need to get at least some sort of a current assessment and what we're going to need. So that's moving right along, and it is going great. I really appreciate these guys. And thirdly, I've talked about the energy upgrades. We had the grant, and McKinstry did all these upgrades. As part of their grant, they give us summaries for the next 3 years. I think quarterly summaries of how much energy we're going to be saving. Of course, this is just the beginning. So, but they do say that we're going to save almost $16,000 a year just in utility costs. So it's kind of interesting. Of course, it'll be adjusted throughout the years to come. But I thought I just got that summary today, and I thought that was pretty interesting. As the energy grant was the upgrades. So with that, I think that is all. Any questions?
Okay, if we don't hear any questions there, next we'll go to our city planner, Lucy Temple.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council on the phone. Our planning update is we are working on several park projects. I think I told you at the last meeting, and I believe the Parks Committee will be providing you an update. But I have been working a lot on those. Also, I know that there's a request for an update on our short-term rental moratorium. We had over about 150 or more responses on the short-term rental survey that went out via SurveyMonkey online, and good response. And I have the results of that survey, if anybody wants me to send them their way. We went over all the results at the last meeting, which was last week, of the Planning Commission, and the commissioners wanted time to digest those results, read through them again, and then they're coming together next week to discuss next steps moving forward. We had to change our very detailed schedule quite a bit. And so, because our next step was going to be to have a public meeting, we're not doing that. We did a survey instead. But because the moratorium was reenacted, they have until sometime in October to get it all done. And so there's plenty of time. And I'll be bringing you updates as we move forward, for sure. So that was our first big milestone, finally reached, and then we'll be seeing some more action on that. Also, a big milestone here was I held interviews with 2 firms last week to conduct our Shoreline Master Program and Critical Areas Ordinance update. That is due in June of 2021, and I'm assured by all experts in the field, including the Department of Ecology, that it does take all of that time to do that. It's a major code review and likely a pretty significant update, at least to our Critical Areas Ordinance, which wasn't updated. Well, it was updated last in 2010, and a lot of the laws have changed. The firms were both excellent, very, very close, and they're interviews were last week, and what really set the winning team apart was their ability to conduct public meetings online. And they actually showed me, both firms sent me links to Zoom. They were incredible. It was something I definitely would like to use in the future for our public meetings, at least for the Planning Commission, because of how easy it was to operate. And then what was really cool is that they showed me tools on Zoom for conducting public outreach during meetings, where we were able to do some live voting on the screen, and everybody's choices came up immediately in real time. So that's kind of what set them apart, because this process of updating these major code items will require a lot of public outreach. And I will bring the proposed contract to the next council meeting and request that it be approved so that we can get them under contract by June 1st, which was on our schedule. So with that, if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can send it over to the next step.
The only question that I might have is more of a comment, and if you can follow up at some point in the future. There's been a lot of press about the security of Zoom meetings, and I don't know where the progress of Zoom is in securing end-to-end encryption. I know everything's subject to public record, but in order to maintain the integrity of the public record, we need to know that outside actors aren't manipulating that public record. So the security of an online thing, and the encryption, I know Join.me specifically has press statements, ensuring security of theirs, and we just need to have that same kind of security with Zoom type of meetings.
Okay, and I'm sure that our technology committee could also weigh in as well. Maybe not right now, I'm just saying.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. Thank you, Lucy. Next, we'll hear from Mike Engelhardt, our Public Works Director.
Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you. I do want to point out, Jay, so you can tell me if you want it now or I can wait until his spot is open. William could not join us today. His mother passed, so they're dealing with some family stuff this week, which is understandable, so I hope we can excuse his absence. He did send me a fill you guys in on everything that's happening at the water treatment plant and sewer treatment plant, so I can do that now or I can wait until his turn. You let me know. But
go ahead and do it now. Do it now since we've got you lined up.
So as far as public works, we'll start with that. We've been really going around, kind of checking up on public safety issues that we've noticed throughout the city and trying to start getting started on some of those projects. Today we poured back several sidewalks where we noticed there was major trip hazards, areas where public works during maintenance operations. We had to destroy some sidewalks around some service meters, and we've got those all replaced today, so kudos to the guys. Again, I want to take my hat off to my team. They're jacks of all trades, masters in none, and they never cease to amaze me, so that's good. We got the cemetery irrigation turned on today, so it'll continue to stay green out there. I noticed Councilman Harper posted on social media that he noticed coming up Stafford Hill. That's another area that during the winter we've had some vehicles slide off of. It gets a little tricky, so we're actually putting guardrail up Stafford Hill. We have others in mind that we're going to be working on. The materials, obviously, for that get a little spendy, but other than that, it's pretty much business as usual. The contractor is moving right ahead. People that happen to go through town will notice that, which there's a lot of people going through town, that they're excavating out right now, getting ready for next week. They're going to be pouring back all the curb and gutters and sidewalk repairs, and then prepping and setting up detours so that they can start repaving all the crossings. So the inverted speed bumps will be going away within the next week or two. The contractors, we get lots of calls during the day. The contractor, we make sure they go out there at least twice a day and backfill those crossings A lot of it has to do with we do have a lot of traffic out there for this time of year, and the excessive traffic helps pick the gravel back out of those crossings. So we're aware of the situation, and there's only so much we can do to keep it maintained without it becoming a major expense. So they're on it, working on getting those repaired. So any questions on public works stuff?
Hey, Mike, this is Beth.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, did you get done putting out all the asphalt in the alleys and those areas?
No, ma'am. We ran out of asphalt. They, if you notice, White Park is empty with asphalt grindings. They did bring in. Excuse me.
I didn't, but okay.
Oh, no. The asphalt was gone out of White Park quite a while back. The contractor Cooney did bring in just as much, if not more, than was at White Park at one point before COVID-19 kicked in and shut their project down. They recently, as of last Thursday night, fired back up and ran Thursday and Friday, bringing us more. That material is being stored at a county pit site just so that it's not in White Park. And then once they're completed, and it probably won't happen till next spring now, just because of budget reasons, we'll then have them come back in, a company come in, we'll grind up the rest of it and then finish the rest of town through the downtown core. Everything up in Hillcrest, Seven Hill, everything from Stafford Avenue west, and everything on the south side of the river has been treated. That was all the material we had.
Okay, thanks. I had someone ask me that, so thank you.
No problem.
Yep. And then I'd just like to comment, the guardrail is great on Stafford. I think it could potentially save lives.
Agreed. That's why we're putting the effort into making sure it's in. Thank you. Okay, from William LaRue at the water treatment plant. The east settling basin has been taken offline for drying and cleaning. He anticipates late August before it will be dry enough to remove the solids. That's an annual thing that he works with Public Works and himself getting that taken care of. InfraSource, which was involved in the McKinstry project, will be on site this month to clean up the yard and fill in the divots where they had to trench the gas lines in and repair the topsoil and reseed the area. And we had a failure of the frequency drive for the Sunkey irrigation pumps and it began in the beginning of May. These are the original drives that were installed when the plant was constructed, and they're over 15 years old. They're obsolete, and they're no longer supported by the factory. We've been in contact with a couple of vendors, and I'm waiting quotes to replace the drive. He's received one quote back in the amount of $25,000 just for the equipment. He's still awaiting quotes for electrical contractors for installation costs, and he has also contacted a company that may have spare parts to rebuild the failed drive, and he's waiting to hear a confirmation on the parts in their inventory. So that's something that the council can expect to definitely hear some follow-up on. According to the Veolia contract, any expenditures he has over $5,000, they must get council approval. So once he has a solid, firm number, he's told me that he's going to definitely be bringing it back to council. So prepare to hear about that in the future. Down at the wastewater treatment plant, staff recently completed the biannual sludge inventory of the lagoons. Sludge levels have increased and are still averaging 3 feet in depth. They have approximately 4 feet of storage area remaining within the lagoon. Staff installed the aerators in the lagoon for mixing and to increase the dissolving oxygen levels during the warmer summer months. And staff completed the annual cleaning of the inlet channel, bar screens, grit chambers. There was a larger than normal level of gravel removed, likely due to the extreme influent flow we experienced during the flooding conditions in February.
So that concludes William's reports. If anybody has any questions. And that concludes my reports all the way across the board.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. That was great. So now we'll listen to our police chief, Kirk Bland. Are you there, Kirk?
I am. Can you guys hear me? I am.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Police department, all is well. We have seen an increase of calls over this, especially over this last weekend, but that was probably due to the increase of population as well. I'm sure most of you noticed that town looked pretty busy. It looked like any other Mother's Day weekend. There was a lot of people in town, and I just foresee that we're going to see that every weekend now through the summer. Most of our projects we were working on are on hold due to the COVID issues. So looking forward for us to move on so we can start up on those again. And Mike talked about the inverted speed bumps. We hate to see those go away because it actually does slow traffic down on First Street, but I understand the need for that when they get repaired. And finally, the other thing to report is law enforcement across the nation do a law enforcement torch run, and that is for the Special Olympics. Unfortunately, Special Olympics aren't going to be held, and we're not going to be able to do the torch run like we normally do, or the fundraising events for the Special Olympics that we normally do. So what they did is they went out and sold T-shirts that we could buy, and they're requesting to have a virtual torch run. So with officers wearing the shirts they buy, they run a leg like they would for the torch, video that, and then we'll send those videos throughout the nation to the Special Olympics so they can at least show support for their athletes and at least do some sort of torch run. So we'll be participating in that. And that's all we have. Okay, so Council, there's one other thing I want to bring up that a problem that Kirk's having at the police station that he didn't mention is that there is no backup generator up there. And there's been 3 times this year so far already that he's been out of power. And so the staff is working on looking at getting a propane-powered generator up there for the police department, similar to something that the fire department has. And we'll be back to the council here soon about what that's going to cost. It's really important that they have a backup generator up there. It's very frustrating for them.
One piece of advice I might throw in is to see if there's the availability of the natural gas, because if there is, in the long run, it'd be cheaper to operate and more reliable.
Well, we will definitely look into that. I don't think it's very close, but if and when it does, we could convert a propane-powered one rather than a diesel-powered generator.
Sure.
So thanks for that, Stephen. We will definitely look at that.
The oldest part of Elum Ponds, and it comes, so it's at least yeah, it's pretty close. I think it's in part of the Forest Service compound too.
So Ken, does the Forest Service have natural gas there?
I believe 1 or 2 of the back buildings had it installed, and just a portion so far is what I understand.
Oh, that's good. We'll look into that. If there's a pipeline close enough, we'll definitely get them hooked up to that.
Yeah.
So, just a heads up.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, we'll take all that into consideration, and we'll have something to report by the next meeting. Thank you on that. Okay. If not, now let's hear from Ed Mills, our fire chief.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'd like to start off by thanking the city and the City Council and the citizens of Elum for continuing to support us with the voting in of the continued levy lid list. So this will continue to update and fund advancement for the Cleveland Fire Department. So again, I thank each and every one of you for your continued support. We had 23 calls in the month of April, so a little slower than normal months that we've had, so a good relief. We had 2 fire calls. One was a vehicle fire that the owner was able to extinguish before we arrived, and the other was a contained legal burn that they were burning full campfire wood in, so nothing significant there. Again, that's all I have. Things have been fairly quiet with the fire department, and we continue to look forward to getting back to normal. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you, Ed. So now we'll go down, since we don't have public appearances. At the last meeting, I did mention that if any citizen had a comment they wanted to make, I would read it, and we did get one, and I will read it to everybody. And this is a email that we got from Eva Tyler, and it says, I would like to comment on the unfinished shelter at the beginning of the coal mine trail, and I would like it read into the record. Dear council members, I am addressing you about my concerns regarding the unfinished shelter by the coal mine trail parking area. Howard Carlin was a good friend of mine, and I know he left some money for development of that area. I don't have the exact date that the city received the money, since he passed away in August 2016. I assume the city got the money in 2017. I believe the foundation was poured in either 2017 or 2018. I do know early in 2019 I saw the mayor on the trail and asked him when it would be finished. He told me it had not been completed because he had not got around to it. It is now over a year later and nothing has been done. I find it distressing that an active member of the Elum community left the city money in his will for a shelter and other amenities at the trailhead, and the city has not honored their part of the deal. I would like to see the city complete the project as soon as possible within the limits allowed by COVID-19 rules. Sincerely, Eva Tyler. So, apparently, I'm involved here. And so what I would like to ordinarily give everybody a little bit of a heads up on what we got from Howard Carlin. And I have to say Howard Carlin was a personal friend of mine, and I have to say also that I'm a little surprised that I would have said what this person has said that I said. So, Howard Carlin left to the coal mine trail $10,000. So as we discussed what to do with that $10,000, we thought we would use that money to add some amenities to the structure that we got money from the lodging grant. So far on the we have purchased a fountain. That was $4,490. We got the water service put in for that, and the meter cost us $143. And then the other part. So what we were going to use the money for? I should have stepped back a little bit. Was a fountain and a cairn, a sculpture, a large stone cairn. So the fountain is purchased. The infrastructure for it is there. And then the pole itself that holds up the cairn, the engineering cost for that was, let's see, I don't see that. Well, the pole, hang on a minute. I'm looking at a sheet here. The pole cost us to have it made was $2,797. To put the pole in place was $324, and the cement was like $200. So far, for the fountain and the structure to hold the stones up for the cairn, we have spent $8,860, and the remaining balance is $1,139. Now we will be putting the rocks on the cairn when the structure is done. And as far as the structure, there was logistical problems last year, but people have to understand that it is a volunteer project. We did get a lodging grant for materials, and we have all the materials in place. And we were going to be started construction a lot sooner this year, but like the letter says, at this point with the COVID-19 rules, we won't be starting construction until we go to at least level 2 in the county. So that's a little bit of an update, and I'll send this information off to Eva Tyler when I have after this meeting. So that's it on citizen comments. So now there is no business requiring public hearings. It's unfinished under new business. The county lodging tax grant application, and we will hear from Lucy. Are you there, Lucy?
I am certainly here, Mayor. Thank you. Let's see here. So we have an opportunity to apply for a county lodging tax grant. It's a 2-year cycle for this, and we had a successful grant application in 2018 for it, in which we used $17,500 to outfit the Peel Avenue project with benches, planters, garbage cans, the on-site amenities there. So it's called the Tourism-Related Small-Scale Municipality-Owned Capsule Projects and Operations Grant. And there's no good acronym for it. So the application is due on June 18th. The county has about $100,000 to distribute, and it's typically split up between all applicants. And so Kittitas, Ellensburg, the county, Clallam, Roslyn are usually the main applicants. And last time, the money was given to all the applicants. But if your ask was $50,000, you were only getting, 17 like we did. So I talked with the administration, and I also talked with the Parks Committee. We were trying to figure out what would be the best, and I talked to the Downtown Association, what would be the best use of the time to put the grant together, and also, a winning grant application that had a 50% match. So it either needs to be tied to an existing funded project, or or we have to come up with money. But so I opted for option A, tying it to an existing funding. And so what we did was we looked at some different options that were just, with the time frame and everything that's going on, a little bit more difficult to fund, like the wayfinding signage plans. Signs around the city would take more engineering, and it would actually cost more money, but we could attribute some of it to the downtown revitalization project. But it was going to be more staff time that was going to be a lot harder to do, so in the time that we have. So what we got was the list that you all have in your packet, some trail counters, which I personally feel very strongly about, because we have a requirement with lodging tax to do post-reporting for JLARC. And it's really strenuous reporting requirements that is very difficult for, a planning department of one with very few volunteers coming out of the woodwork to go and survey every event or every user of every project that uses lodging tax. But what we can do is we can set up some trail counters at permanent locations, like along the Coal Mines Trail and in the proposed dog park, and also have portable trail counters that can be used. They can be programmed to collect the people walking by at certain different distances, so you can calibrate them, and you can use them in downtown events like Blue Elum or Christmas in Clay Elum, and you can use them at other parks or at trails during events or big holiday weekends. We already had $3,000 in the dog park budget that was approved and used lodging tax, city lodging tax, for the trail counters, and so I'm going to use that as a match. It takes $3,000 actually to get the initial package, and then additional trail counters are an additional price. So that would kind of cover those trail counters, the dog park grant, as the 50% match. The second part is, or we could also use the Coal Mines Trail project since that's fully funded as a match as well. Component number 2 was, and mind you, this is a small ask because there are certain regulations with the city about purchasing, and if it's $7,500 or more, you're supposed to go out to bid. And because these different amenities were by different vendors, it was not going to have a successful bid because there's no one company that would do all this work. So we pared it down really low, which means we have a high success rate, we think, probability. But that second one is to improve the disc golf course. A couple years ago, my intern worked with the disc golf course nonprofit to design the signs, and it would really improve that experience, and also to put in a logo and a tourism brochure to get people to come off of I-90, but also within our own community to go and take advantage of this really awesome disc golf course. And so we would be working with local businesses and then the DOT to get the signs and the logo and the brochure done. So we think that those are right in line with lodging tax, and I ran this by, again, the administration and the Parks Committee, and the grant request is only $3,200. The 50% match is already there, and it'll be ready to go. There is a lot of refinement to do on the grant, a lot in terms of getting it done by the 18th. It's not an extraordinary amount of work for staff, but I'll probably stretch it out and work on it here and there until the 18th when it's ready to be submitted. So with that, all I'm asking for is just approval to move forward with this list of items for this grant request, and that's it.
So it's Matthew. Can I ask a question?
There's a motion. We can ask questions after. It needs to be seconded first.
I didn't hear a motion. Sorry.
Yes, Stephen. I believe it was Stephen, was it not?
Yes.
That made the motion?
That is correct. Seeking a second.
Steph will second that.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Questions on the motions? Matthew, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this is germane to the motion necessarily, but I guess I'll ask anyway, and you can tell me if it isn't. So, from looking at this list, we're asking for $3,200. We just talked about the Trailhead Park that's been sitting idle for quite a while. Would it not make sense for us, since I believe that project already got county lodging tax funds, for us to ask for a larger portion of this pot to hire some folks to help finish it, since I know the volunteer labor has been tough, so that we can get this done? I assume because it, I think would be something that, Cleolum, Roslyn, Ronald, all who have portions on the trail would want to see done as the entrance to the trail. Would it not make sense for us to ask for a larger portion of that to get this project sort of jump-started and done?
Andrew said, I think that's a great point and a great goal, but I don't think it fits within the matching requirements and the time constraints to try to put that type of an application together. Lucy could probably answer that better than I can.
Yeah, I guess that was really meant as a question for Lucy, I guess.
Okay. Well, the matching requirement would certainly be there because the Coal Mines Trail project does have a fully funded, for what they've done so far and what is being planned. It had, I think, about $34,000 in the budget, and the lodging tax grant that's right now is we'd probably be able to get, 20 to 30,000 at maximum. So that was the answer to the match question. As far as the time to do it, it would just depend on what the request would be. If it was to hire a contractor, I'm sure somebody could figure that out. It wouldn't be me just going rogue and trying to figure that out. That would certainly be up to the administration or whomever is the decision maker on that. I would just take the direction and go in that direction.
Just so you know, the lodging tax grant for that structure was $17,000, and we used that money to buy the materials and get the materials in place that for what we need to make, and also to have the cement work done. And I can assure you, as soon as we can go with the COVID-19 level 2, you'll be seeing some action there. The volunteers are all waiting to go. So, but there's a motion, a second on the floor. Anybody, any other questions, I guess, on the motion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, Lucy, you have approval to submit that application. Thank you,
everyone.
Okay, so now we'll go down to committee reports, and Stephen Harper has something to report on City Park Structure Lodging Tax Grant.
Okay, I think this will go pretty quick. We thought that we were going to need to get a budget amendment before we could go forward with our recommendations from the lodging tax, and I found out that we didn't, and basically forgot to come back to council and seek council approval. The lodging tax approves and gives a recommendation to the council for applications that it reviews, but we ultimately need to get it passed by the council. So we have two projects that we're recommending. Motion was made by Stephen Harper and seconded by Matthew Lund to approve the 2020 lodging tax application submitted by City of Elum for the 2nd Street sound system conduit in the amount of $6,000. So we're seeking approval of that application, and the budget already has clearance to be able to allow that. And so I'm recommending that to council and seeking a motion to that effect.
Okay, so do we need okay, so moved. So it's so moved, and is there a second?
I would second.
So was that Matthew that made the motion?
It was.
And it was seconded by?
Stephen Harper.
Stephen, yeah. See, sometimes if you tell us your name real quick, it's sometimes a little bit hard to tell exactly who's saying what. Okay. Moved and seconded to approve that lodging tax request. Are there questions on the motion? If not, all in favor with aye?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing none, the request is approved.
All right. The second.
Any other? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the second thing would be that our committee also addressed the Kiwanis City Park Structure Lodging Tax application in the amount of $23,500. And again, the committee agrees that they've met that the application is complete, and we want to approve it and recommend it to council. So again, it's for the Kiwanis City Park Structure Lodging Tax application request in the amount of $23,500, and we're recommending the council to approve it and seeking a motion to that effect.
This can make a motion to approve the 20,000 project at the park.
There's a motion by Ken. Is there a second?
Second, this is John.
And a second now. Questions on the motion? If not, all those in favor with aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. So that approves the expenditure $23,000. Is there any other committee reports?
It's Matthew. I'd like to give a brief Parks Committee report if I could.
Yes, go ahead.
Great. So just want to run down. I had notes written down and then I closed the window, so I'm going to do this from memory. So the dog park, I believe the survey for the park will be done either this week or next, which will allow us to move forward with getting an RFP together to get the fencing done. So we're very much looking forward to being able to get that going here. And then Second Street Park, my understanding, and Mike, if you're still on, my understanding is that Thursday your crew's going to demolish the existing structure. Is that right?
That is correct.
Excellent. And then we are, I believe, going to take delivery of the new structure sometime in June. And also the Quantas, I guess, has also been able to get some of the concrete work and some other portions that we originally had budgeted for in-kinded. So we're I think just kind of trying to work out. Megan is trying to work out scheduling for everything and getting the project more planned out in terms of when the folks who are generously donating their time to actually get in and get their portions done. So we're really excited to see this moving ahead here real soon. And then the last one is Hansen Ponds, and I believe the siding for the bathroom is done. Lucy, is that right? And was there anything else? I couldn't remember what you said about that one.
I located it out of the floodway over there, and the mayor went by, I believe, today to check it out. And we need to have Mike check it out and make sure that it'll work for everybody. And then I'm going to be doing the environmental, I have to send out SEPA on that. But yeah, Mike's also working on maybe getting the restroom donated, so that if he can pull that off, I'm going to make him a cookie. And that's what I have on that. So we just wait for Mike and the mayor on that one.
Great. Well, that's all to say we're tremendously excited about the movement on the various parks projects, and looking forward to making some real progress here in the next couple months.
Okay. Is that it for committee reports? If so, I don't know. Does anybody feel like motioning to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. Meeting's adjourned. We'll work on a little better video conferencing next time. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.